What's good, guys? So we're talking about hand traps right now. I've seen a few people ask me what are the good hand traps to main deck because everything's about to change in June. So these are hand traps you can main deck after Lightning Overdrive. So what we're gonna have to deal with is Drytron cards, if Drytron's actually that scary, and then definitely Bear Bloom. The Tri Brigade deck is definitely gonna be scary. I think Dragon Link's gonna stay around, and hopefully Dino gets hit, but I think Dino and Invoke are still gonna be there. Hopefully these decks take hits. But no matter what, I just listed 4 decks that Lancia already touches. So I highly recommend thinking about main decking Lancia. And this is weird because I usually tell people don't main deck hand traps that only hit like a specific deck. There's no point in doing that. You side those cards. But Lancia is actually a floodgate in the form of a hand trap that hits so many decks, and it's going to hit Tri Brigade, it's going to hit Dragon Link, it's going to hit Dino. I just highly recommend playing this card in the main deck. If you have room for it, definitely try this. I think it's going to be really good going into that next format after Lightning Overdrive, after a banlist. Even if the banlist destroys a few of these decks I just mentioned, it does not matter. Tri Brigade's going to be there. Nothing's going to get hit from Tri Brigade, and Lancia is really good at preventing all the main deck monsters from actually link summoning. So Lancia is definitely on my list. The next card, main deck worthy, Droll and Lockwood. Same idea as Lancia. Floodgate-esque hand trap. For one turn, you're going to essentially floodgate them. You're going to mistake them after they add. Dragon Link's still going to add. This is kind of subpar. I think Lancia is definitely better than Droll and Lockwood, but I wanted Droll and Lockwood in here because Droll still does hit the decks from the previous format, not Lightning Overdrive format, but it's going to hit Invoked, it's going to hit Dino, and it's going to hit Dragon Link, all three, and it kind of touches Tri Brigade, but not really. I wouldn't like keep it in, but like I said, when we're playing hand traps in the main deck, it always has to be multi-purpose. Different decks, you have to be able to touch it with different decks. Droll does do that. Droll sometimes just FTKs certain decks, so I highly recommend Droll. Next hand trap on the list, Ash Blossom, the most generic one. It's kind of subpar, but the thing with Ash Blossom is multi-purpose. It always does something. There's always a power card in every deck that Ash Blossom can stop, from Prosperity, Chaos Space, Evolution Pill, like there's a miscellaneous Saurus. Literally the list goes on and on. It's against Tri Brigade. A lot of people have been asking me, oh, what do I Ash? From testing, honestly, if they start with Fractal, just Ash Fractal. Like, Ash is actually kind of weak against Tri Brigade as well, but I would recommend, if they start with Desires, yeah, you have to Ash Desires, but if they start with Fractal, I would Ash Fractal just because there's no point in ashing the Nerval anymore if they stack their graveyards. So I think Ash is fine. I think Ash is still going to be main deck worthy because of the multi-purpose aspect of this card. So Ash Blossom worth main decking still. Ghost Spell, I think Ash Blossom's sister, Ghost Spell, is actually going to be better. Ghost Spell actually hits some crazy cards. Ghost Spell also hits certain cards that do the Ash still hits, such as Nadir Servant. Hopefully Nadir Servant gets hit, but I'm not holding my breath for Nadir Servant to get hit, knowing how Konami likes to do their thing. So Bell hits Nadir Servant, Bell hits Revolt, Bell hits IDP. Really strong cards, really niche cards. Ash doesn't touch it. It's very hard to target those cards I just mentioned. Ash only can hit Nadir Servant, but Ash can't touch IDP. Ash can't touch Revolt. Revolt's literally insane. So I think Ghost Spell will 100% see main deck play. I will most likely be playing Ghost Spell somewhere in my deck. Another solid hand trap. Bell really is going to be solid against Tri Brigade. There's other things that Bell can hit. Bell always just hits cards that people don't expect. I swear, like cards like World Legacy Guard Dragon, when they drop that, Dragon Link players always feel safe. But if you have Bell for that the card goes to graveyard. It negates the activation. Remember that. So Bell is another card that I would recommend main decking. And then the last two cards I'm gonna go over, Effect Veiler, Impermanence. This is all under the idea that the Tri Brigade deck, in my opinion, is going to be the best deck or tied for the best deck with something like Dragon Link. But Effect Veiler and Permanence both do similar things. They have pros and cons, but Effect Veiler essentially and Impermanence just negates an effect. Very simple. The pro to Effect Veiler is, I guess, one of them is you could play with Phantasme, where Impermanence you can, but the pro to Impermanence is you could draw it as the 6th card, and I think Impermanence is probably a little bit better, but I would probably fit Impermanence into my main deck, before I fit Veiler. But if you can fit both, I would fit both. These cards are really good into Tri Brigade. They're average against just about everything else, and that's what I like. Like I said, multi-purpose. So all these hand traps are going to be super solid. I believe I went through 6 of them. So guys, let me know if there's other hand traps you would consider main decking. But these are the ones that come to my head to my head as we go into Lightning Overdrive format. Guys, leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.